Remnant 2 is not far away, but before we analyze and determine its place in the Souls-like subgenre, let's take a quick look at how the titles that came before it rank on a quality to quantity basis. Just a reminder that this is a definitive list, and as such there is absolutely no other order that these games can be in. Your personal experience and opinion, if not in agreement with these rankings, are null and void. On this basis, if you don't understand sarcasm and would still like to have a go, please let me know in the comments below. Additionally, I am a small channel, and as such all content is done after hours, many times into the early hours of the morning. So if you do get something out of this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Now with that out of the way, let's get nerdy. Finding its place at number 15 is The Surge. The Surge's gameplay revolves around intense combat and strategic dismemberment. Players engage in fast-paced battles against vicious robotic enemies, targeting specific limbs to sever and collect valuable resources and equipment. The dismemberment mechanic adds a unique twist to the combat, requiring players to choose between dismantling specific body parts for loot or aiming for quick kills. As players progress, they can upgrade their exoskeleton and unlock new abilities, granting access to new areas and more powerful bosses. The game's level design offers a challenging and interconnected environment to explore, with shortcuts and hidden paths to discover. The futuristic setting of The Surge 2 features the Creo Corporation, with its industrial aesthetics and oppressive ambience. It creates a sense of foreboding and isolation. The narrative touches on themes such as corporate greed, technological advancement, and the consequence of unchecked ambition. Featuring roughly 24.75 hours of total content and scoring an average of 73 from critics at the time of release, The Surge ends up with 10.91 quality hours, earning the number 15 next to its name. In at number 14 is Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. Final Fantasy Origin was developed by Team Ninja and was published by Square Enix, and it takes a fresh approach to the beloved Final Fantasy franchise, offering a dark and gritty reimagining of the series. Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is set in the world of chaos, where players assume the role of Jack, a warrior driven by a desire to defeat chaos and change his own dark destiny. Alongside his companions, Ash and Jed, Jack embarks on a perilous journey through treacherous lands, battling hordes of monsters and powerful bosses. With its action-focused gameplay, dark fantasy setting, and a blend of Final Fantasy and Team Ninja's expertise, Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin features roughly 24 hours of total content and scores an average of 72 from critics at the time of release, ending up with 11.93 quality hours, enough to find its place at number 14 on these rankings. The 13th place in this ranking goes to Blasphemous, a 2D action platformer game developed by The Game Kitchen and released in 2019. It's set in a dark and twisted world known as Custodia. The game offers a punishing and atmospheric experience that combines exploration, combat, and a haunting narrative. In Blasphemous, players assume the role of the Patient One, a lone warrior on a quest to break a curse that has befallen the land. The game draws inspiration from Spanish folklore, religious iconography, and Gothic aesthetics, creating a unique and eerie world filled with grotesque enemies and disturbing imagery. The gameplay in Blasphemous focuses on precision-based combat and challenging platforming, where players must navigate treacherous environments, face off against formidable bosses, and utilize a variety of devastating combat techniques and mystical powers. The world of Blasphemous is intricately designed, featuring interconnected areas with secrets, shortcuts, and hidden lore. Exploration is rewarded with new abilities, upgrades, and glimpses into the dark history of Custodia. The game's atmospheric soundtrack and haunting visuals contribute to an overall sense of unease and despair. With a total of 16.25 hours of gameplay to see the credits roll, as well as a very good quality score from critics of 80, Blasphemous ends up with 12.23 quality hours, claiming its spot in 11th place overall. Featuring at number 12 on this ranking is Ender Lily's Quietus of the Nights. Quietus of the Nights is a 2D action-adventure game developed by Livewire and published by Binary Haze Interactive and released in 2021. The game offers a hauntingly beautiful world, immersive atmosphere and challenging gameplay. In Ender Lilies, players assume the role of Lily, a young priestess as she navigates a decaying kingdom plagued by a deadly rain that turns people into monsters. Lily embarks on a quest to cleanse the land from this corruption, accompanied by the spirits of the fallen knights who lend their powers to aid her in her journey. The game's art direction is a standout feature, with hand-drawn environments and character designs that create a mesmerizing and melancholic atmosphere. The haunting soundtrack further enhances this immersive experience, complementing the game's emotional storytelling. Featuring roughly 15.75 hours of total content and scoring an average of 85 from critics at the time of release, Ender Lily's Quietus of the Nights ends up with 12.81 quality hours and a well-earned place at 12th on this list. Ranked at number 11 on a quality to quantity basis is Ashen, the action role-playing game developed by A44 and published by Anpura Interactive, released back in 2018. The game offers a captivating open-world experience with a distinct art style and a focus on cooperative gameplay. Set in a sunless world engulfed in internal darkness, Ashen presents a desolate and mysterious land where players assume the role of a wanderer. The game's narrative revolves around building a community and seeking a sense of purpose in the face of ongoing struggle against the relentless darkness. The co-op gameplay is a central aspect of Ashen, where players can team up with others online or with non-playable characters encountered throughout the game. Co-op is essential for overcoming challenges, as players must strategize and work together to defeat enemies and explore the world. The game's seamless multiplayer integration creates a sense of shared exploration and camaraderie. The progression system in Ashen is also unique, as players do not have the traditional levels or character classes, but instead, progression is tied to building relationship with non-playable characters and expanding the community. Upgrades and improvements are unlocked by completing quests and forming alliances, encouraging players to interact with the world and its inhabitants. With a total of 17.5 hours of gameplay to see the credits roll, as well as a very good quality score of 80, Ashen ends up with 13.24 quality hours, claiming its spot in 11th place overall. Securing its spot in the top 10 is Salt and Sanctuary, a 2D action role-playing game developed by SKA Studios and released in 2016. Drawing inspiration from the Dark Souls series, the game offers a challenging and atmospheric experience in a dark and foreboding world. In Salt and Sanctuary, players assume the role of a shipwrecked sailor who finds themselves stranded on a mysterious island filled with hostile creatures and treacherous environments. The objective is to navigate the island, overcome daunting challenges, and unravel the secrets of its dark history. The gameplay in Salt and Sanctuary features tight and responsive combat, with a focus on skill-based mechanics. Players engage in intense battles against a variety of combatants, utilizing a diverse arsenal of weapons and magical abilities. Timing, evasion, and strategic use of resources are crucial to survival. Similar to the Soulsborne games, death has consequence, as players drop their accumulated salt experience points upon dying and must reclaim it to progress. Salt and Sanctuary's deep customization system adds depth to the gameplay experience. Players can choose from various character classes and develop their skills in a branching skill tree. The game offers a wide range of weapons, armor sets, and spells, allowing players to tailor their playstyle and adapt to different challenges. Featuring roughly 18.75 hours of total content and scoring an average of 83 from critics at the time of release, Salt and Sanctuary ends up with 14.36 quality hours, earning the number 10 next to its name. Finding its place at 9th is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by EA, it was released in 2019 and offers an immersive cinematic experience set in the beloved Star Wars universe. In Jedi Fallen Order, players assume the role of Cal Kestis, a young Jedi Padawan, on the run from the sinister Empire after Order 66. The game takes place after the events of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and follows Cal's journey to rebuild the Jedi Order while evading the Imperial forces. Jedi Fallen Order features a compelling narrative and delves into themes of redemption, the struggle between light and dark, and the resilience of the Jedi. The story is brought to life by a well-crafted cutscenes, dialogue, and interactions with a diverse cast of characters. The game's engaging story and memorable characters add depth and emotional weight to the overall experience. Featuring roughly 19.5 hours of total content and scoring an average of 82 from critics at the time of release, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order ends up with 14.68 quality hours, earning the number 9 next to its name. The sequel to the game that started off this ranking comes in 8th place with none other than The Surge 2. Developed by Deck 13 Interactive and released in 2019, The Surge 2 builds upon its predecessor's foundation and offers an enhanced and expanded experience. Set in the sprawling and devastated city of Jericho, The Surge 2 presents a dark and dystopian future where players must navigate through a city on the brink of collapse. The game follows a customizable protagonist, a survivor of a plane crash, as they navigate through the ruins, face off against dangerous enemies, and uncover the mysteries of the city's downfall. The Surge 2 retains the core gameplay mechanics that made the predecessor notable, focusing on intense and strategic combat. In addition to the improved combat, The Surge 2 expands upon the original game's level design, with players traversing diverse environments, ranging from urban ruins to high-tech facilities, with interconnected paths, secrets, and shortcuts to discover. Featuring roughly 24 hours of total content and scoring an average of 77 from critics at the time of release, The Surge 2 secures its place in these rankings with 14.98 quality hours and earning the 8th place. Halfway home at number 7 is Code Vein. Developed by Bandai Namco Studios and released in 2019, it is set in a dystopian future. Code Vein takes place in a world ravaged by a cataclysmic event known as the Great Collapse. Players assume the role of a Remnant, a vampiric being who must navigate through the mysterious and dangerous lands known as Vein. The Revenants must feed on blood to maintain their sanity while struggling to retain their humanity. Character customization is a prominent feature in Code Vein, with players being able to create and customize their own Revenant, choosing from various appearance options, weapons, and blood codes. The customization extends to playstyle as well, as players can mix and match different abilities and equipment to suit their preferred combat approach. Code Vein received a decent quality rating in the rankings of 75 and features 30 hours of content, resulting in a total of 16.5 quality hours, enough to earn it the 7th spot. In 6th place is none other than the 2017 out-of-nowhere sensation, Dead Cells. Dead Cells is a roguelike Metroidvania game dipped in the From Software DNA and developed by Motion Twin. In Dead Cells, players assume the role of a humanoid creature known as the Prisoner. The game takes place in a sprawling, ever-changing castle filled with deadly enemies and treacherous traps. Players must explore the castle's interconnected rooms, fight enemies, collect weapons and abilities, and survive as long as possible. What sets Dead Cells apart is the roguelike structure. Each run is unique with randomized levels, enemy placements, and item drops. Upon death, players lose their progress and must start anew, but the challenge and abilities acquired during each run make subsequent attempts more manageable. Dead Cells also features a captivating pixel art style and atmospheric soundtrack that enhances the overall experience. The game's visuals are beautifully detailed, with each area of the castle crafted to immerse players in its dark and foreboding atmosphere. Dead Cells contains roughly 30 hours of content on an average playthrough and has a gaming analytics quality score of 88.28. ultimately in combination resulting in a total of 19.2 quality hours and the bragging rights as the 6th best Soul-like game on a quality to quantity basis. In 5th place is the recently released Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by EA, Star Wars Jedi Survivor takes place 5 years after destroying the Jedi Holocron and follows series protagonist Cal Kestis, played by Cameron Morrigan, as he continues his battle against the Empire as a resistance fighter working under Saw Gerrera. Star Wars Jedi Survivor maintains many of the gameplay mechanics from its predecessor, with new elements. In lightsaber combat, Cal Kestis has access to 5 different stances, each with its own unique features. He can use both single blade and double blade stances from the previous game, while the special dual wield single blade attack is expanded into its own fully playable lightsaber stance. With a gaming analytics quality rating of 79.96 and sporting an average playthrough duration of 25.75 hours, Star Wars Jedi Survivor ends up with a total of 20.59 quality hours, enough to earn it a top 5 slot. In at number 4 we have Wulong Fallen Dynasty. You create and customize your own playable avatar set in 184 CE China, amidst the civil war that is ravaging the country, predominantly incited by the infamous Three Zhang brothers. The plot of Fallen Dynasty revolves around the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy with theo and mythological undertones, as well as a consistent theme of restoration and an overarching motif throughout of standing up for the greater good despite the personal cost. Combat in Wulong is based on a deflection style mechanic, creating openings to counter-strike. Each enemy has a morale tank, which indicates how challenging the combat encounter will be. With a total of 25.75 hours of gameplay to see the credits roll, as well as a very good quality score of 79.96, Wulong Fallen Dynasty ends up with 22.19 quality hours, claiming its spot in 4th place overall. Breaking into the top 3 is none other than the indie sensation Hollow Knight. Released in 2017, Hollow Knight is a critically acclaimed 2D action-adventure game developed by Team Cherry. It offers a beautifully crafted and immersive world, challenging gameplay, and a captivating sense of exploration and discovery. In Hollow Knight, players assume the role of a small insect-like creature known as the Knight, who ventures into the decaying kingdom of Hallownest. One of the standout features of Hollow Knight is a stunning art style. The hand-drawn visuals create a dark and atmospheric ambiance, perfectly capturing the melancholic and mysterious tone of the game. The hauntingly beautiful environments, intricate character designs, and attention to detail contribute to the game's immersive experience. Containing an average of 34 hours of total content and a gaming analytics quality score of 91.1, Hollow Knight ends up with a total of 30.97 quality hours to finish up in the 3rd place. Just shy of taking out gold for itself is Nioh. Developed by Team Ninja and published by Koei Tecmo, drawing inspiration from Japanese history and folklore, Nioh offers a challenging and immersive experience with intense combat, intricate level design, and deep customization options. Set in the Sengoku era of Japan, players assume the role of William, a Western samurai who embarks on a quest to rescue his kidnapped guardian and confront the dark forces that threaten the land. The game seamlessly weaves historical events and mythological elements, creating a captivating narrative that immerses players in a world of samurai warriors, demonic creatures, and ancient spirits. Players must master a variety of weapons, stances, and skills to defeat challenging enemies and bosses. The game's key system adds an additional layer of strategy, as managing stamina becomes crucial to survival and success in battles. Featuring roughly 49.5 hours of total content and scoring an average of 88 from critics at the time of release, Nioh ends up with 44.02 quality hours and only barely misses out on the number 1 slot. And at number 1, the champion soul-like that's not a From Software title is none other than Nioh 2. Neo 2, released in 2020, is the highly anticipated sequel of the number 2 in this list, the original Neo game, developed by Team Ninja and published again by Koei Tecmo. Building upon the foundation of its predecessor, Neo 2 offers an expanding and refined experience, with its intense combat, deep customization options, and a captivating story set once more in the Sengoku period of Japan. In Neo 2, players step into the shoes of a half-yokai protagonist known as Hideyoshi, who possesses supernatural powers. The game explores the origins of the yokai threat and the protagonist's unique heritage, intertwining history and mythology in a compelling narrative. The combat in Neo 2 retains the fast-paced skill-based action that made the first game renowned. Players have the ability to transform into powerful yokai forms, unleashing devastating attacks and abilities to overpower their foes. Neo 2 introduces new weapon types, expanded skill trees, and a deeper range of combat options, providing even more ways to engage in thrilling battles against the variety of challenging enemies and fearsome bosses. Neo 2 receives a gaming analytics quality rating of 84.03 and features more than 58.75 hours of total content, resulting in a total of 49.36 quality hours, taking out the title as the best Souls-like on a quality to quantity basis. As always, thank you so much for watching. What did you think of the rankings? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. Please like, subscribe, and I hope to see you all again soon.